Hey mates, and welcome to More Than Meets the Eyes. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be talking about Star Convoy, aka Age of the Primes, Star Optimus Prime, the Titan class, the small Titan class, the Titan class that only cost you 150, which is totally the price that Titan classes used to be at a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far, far away. So, today's video is going to be about the robot mode for Star Optimus Prime. We're going to discuss him from the vehicle, not from the vehicle, from the blind perspective. And of course, give you my blind reaction to it as I raise blind awareness by discussing these things and allowing you, as a sighted person, to understand more about how the blind enjoy things, and allow you, as a blind person, to better understand more about what Star Convoy actually is, Star Optimus Prime, if you will. But we'll be calling him Star Convoy for the sake of this video because I just like it more. I think it's a decent name, and the Americans, the audience needs a convoy. So we got ourselves a convoy here. I'm not talking about the song. All right. Let's get into the accessories he comes with, and then we'll talk more about the figure himself. So the first accessory I want to talk about is his ion blaster. This is a big ion blaster. It's big as my hand. It's as big as some steak knives, and it's a massive ion blaster. You can even sort of like hold it as a holdout blaster. And I want to see a sci-fi movie using this thing. Yeah, I think low budget sci-fi could totally use this ion blaster as some sort of holdout blaster for people. It'd just be kind of fun. You got your little trigger mechanism in there. This entire thing could be that, and you just pew pew. Yeah, it's kind of neat. It's a neat little weapon, a neat big weapon, if you will. And we got a little size comparison. It goes from the bottom of it to the tip of it, goes right to the edge of his knee, not counting the kneecap thing. Just on the side of his leg where his lower leg ends is how long this gun is. This is a long gun. Let me get a size comparison aspect going so that you can get an idea of how long this gun is. We've got you. Who are you? Who are you? Oh, it's Blue Bolts. Blue Bolts. Yay, Blue Bolts. Okay, so we got Blue Bolts here, and the gun stretches from the all the way up to the little spiky things on Blue Bolts' shoulders. His tall, spiky shoulders because he's like a tiny Ultra Magnus, so he's got to have the crazy shoulders. Yeah, this gun is as tall as Blue Bolts' shoulders. That's wild. Let's set Blue Bolts off here, and talk about its feel. This thing actually has a decent weight to it. It's got some really cool textures on the sides. We got some really nice little line texture work going on the sides here, and for the most part, it's really well done. There's not much hollowing occurring in here, if any at all. It's very well put together. It's solid, and you may notice there's a rectangular hole cut out of the side of it. And what is that, you may ask? Well, that is for the bullet. And I put the bullet off to the side. Here we go. I stored the bullet in here with a hot rod because I wanted to. Here's our little hot rod, and there's our little bullet. Now we can take this bullet and make sure you point the point of the bullet towards the right way. This bullet doesn't really fit into the end of the barrel. I wish it did. I think that would have been awesome if you could plug the bullet into the end of the barrel to kind of get that scene of a bullet flying out of the gun. And you can't plug him into any of these blast effects really. Like we're gonna use this blast effect here. So we got this blast effect that comes with him, and that the bullet does not plug into a blast effect. I'm so sad by the missed opportunity there. But you do get this really neat bullet. It's got some decent textures on it. You got a little hollowness on the rear, so that you can have some sort of flame coming out of the back of it. But of course, it's not sized for any of our blast effects, so we can't really use that. But I wanted to showcase getting this thing in here because I found out I tried to push it in earlier, and it feels like it's going to be stuck in there once it's pushed in there. So I wanted to do it on camera. So take the tiny little bullet. I know you're going to find it in its own little plastic sheath, and it would be super small. You're like, what in the world is this for? It's for this. So take the gun, find the barrel in, find the pointy end of the bullet, make sure the pointy end is going down the barrel. Then come to this big rectangular hole in the side, you place the bullet in that location and then push. So we're pushing now, and there it goes. And I don't think you're able to get that bullet out of there. No matter how hard you try, that bullet is stuck in there forever now, unless you get some sort of thin little rod to try and like peel it out. But that is a tight fit. And that's why I wanted to do it on camera. There you go. Now this is complete, and he's got the magic bullet. I like that. I think that's a neat little addition. Now, the way you put it, sorry, cat hair. The way you put it into Star Optimus's hands right here is, let's lower your arm down, there it goes, is you don't use this this taller peg that's on the long bit. No, and you'll know what I'm talking about. It feels like an ammo container hanging off the side, if you didn't already know that the ammo is where that bullet goes. On the very rear of the gun, there is a siege peg, and then there's this rectangular peg sticking out of the gun. Now, if you feel on his hand here, you'll find that there is a rectangular slot cut into his hand right behind the thumb area. And if you take and close the fist up, and then we're going to push that gun into the hand, and that little rectangular peg is going to lock into that rectangular slot, and you've got a sturdy, look at that. Give me your gun. Give me your gun, Star Convoy. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? I love that. So you can remove it. The best way I found is by twisting it, and it pops off quite easily. And we're going to set that off to the side. Now, next thing we're going to talk about is this blast effect. I forgot to mention. So let's take a look at the gun real quick. We get this crazy big blast effect. It's such a weird one. It's like it reminds me of a Kamehameha wave blast or something. It's got this curved, rounded end on it, and it's just this long stream of energy with little blasts coming out the sides. But there you go. You could plug it into the gun, and interestingly enough, we've got a blast effect right here because it comes with other blast effects. These are rubberized blast effects. This is solid plastic. It surprised me that it was a blast effect, but there it is. You can also take his giant matrix, which is just an inopportune size. Where's your giant? Where's your this is the unnecessarily large matrix. You can plug that into the barrel, and then you can plug the blast effect into the end of the unnecessarily large matrix. And now he's firing through a matrix to create this crazy blast of energy that's wild. And of course, you can then take the explosion things that we got earlier. We plug those guys into the side, and then we plug the explosion into that. Now we got all this craziness going on. I like it. Okay, I like what you can do with this. It's fun. That's a fun little effect. Blast effect, and the gun is a fun gun. I wouldn't say little because it's pretty big. Now we come over here to the matrix of leadership that he has, and this matrix, it on the rear it feels sort of like an enlarged matrix, like it's just been upsized. But then on the top of it has this big old round bit sticking out of it, like it's been evolved or something, and it's just really big and clunky and round. And that's because this matrix is also supposed to become a weapon. So what you do is you apparently use some, but not all, of these blast effects. We're going to use these crazy big wide ones, and not the thick ones though, because those guys are just too heavy in my opinion. Then we're going to take this little blast effect that has a line on it, and we're going to plug that one in there. And now we can plug this into his arm, but the way we do it is not by using these siege pegs, but by, if you feel, so we got the side that's plugged in. We plugged it into the exploding side, like the side that's got the big round thing. But on the other side of it is the siege peg that you would think it holds onto. Right above that siege peg is this weird little thing that's got lines cut out of it. And if you feel on his hand, you're going to find that he's got these weird little lines cut in there, little things that are similar to tabs or something like that, but not quite. And it's because you're supposed to just kind of slide this into that area, and it's going to, those tabs act as a holding thing. It holds it a little better. It holds it a little sturdier. It's not the best in the world. Definitely could have had a little more testing done, in my opinion. But once you do it right, look at that. See how well that works? I like that. I do like how those little edges close around and grip this little sword hilt a lot better. And this is, of course, his matrix sword hilt. Do I think it's wonky looking? Yeah, it's a little stupid too. So I don't really like it. So we're going to set that off to the side. We're going to take his little matrix of leadership and put it over there with the gun because we're done talking about it. Now we can talk about Hot Rod, but first I want to bring up another weapon. And the last weapon that we're going to talk about is right here. Here we go. This guy is a foldy weapon. So first off, in one mode, we'll get to eventually, you can stand it up on its full height as a little sentry gun. And then in vehicle mode, and we'll get to that eventually, but you fold it up, and you got this big long area underneath it, and then below that is this big round thing. And what that does is fit right here in the front of his leg. You'll find below the knee on his right leg is this outcropping that's round, and that actually fits into that in vehicle mode. And we'll talk about that when we get to vehicle mode day. Now, the way to store this on this guy, there's one way of you take around here to the back, you find his butt panel. So find his backpack, drag your fingers down, find his crotch area, and there's this little thing that you can pull out, and it folds down, and it reveals a butthole. I mean, what else are you going to call it, right? So you can actually take this, unfold it, and plug that siege peg at the bottom into that port there, and then this thing just kind of lowers down, and there you go. Is it perfect? Nah, but does it hold it? Yeah, it does. That's one way. Now the other way you can do it is you fold the gun up like I just did earlier, and this time you take and close up this fist, and you just plug the gun into the top of his fist. And there you go. He's got a weird double-barreled pistol. And I like it because the folded up aspect in the middle now sort of becomes a really long ammunition chamber. And it's a very similar width of ammunition chamber to the one that we have for his gun over here, the one that holds the bullet. So I think that it's kind of a neat thing of he's now got ammunition, smaller ammunition, but it's got these double-barrel little pistol thing. And of course, there's these little plugs on top that allow it to plug into other things. I haven't figured out everything this thing can plug into because these two little rectangular bits at the top are so weird. And it's just impossible finding whatever they plug into. If you know, let me know because I would love to know. So we're going to unplug this thing. And it's a neat little gun, but that's all it really does. It's got, let's see, it's got one siege peg at the bottom. It's got another siege peg sticking up right below the barrels. Well, at the bottom, below the barrels. And then on the rear end, it's got these little other pegs that I haven't been able to figure out yet. And then, of course, you close it up, and you reveal the big peg. It's just a neat little gun. I like that it has multiple aspects, and it does a lot of things. Slide over here. We're not talking about you yet, Mr. Star Convoy. Now, next thing we get is we got a bunch of blast effects. No one talks about these. I think they just showcase them. So we've got blast effects from all across the eras of Transformers so far. Trying to collect them real quick. So what do we have? We've got two laser effects. You know, the long laser beams. So we got two of them. That famously came with Skyfire. So with two of those, not quite as long as the ones that came with Skyfire, unless I may be mistaken on that. But then we have these two things, which are fun little fiery effects that we also saw with Skyfire. And we're going to slide those guys back in there. So that's 4 blast effects so far. 2 ends and then 2 middle bits. So we're going to slide those guys over there. And then we're going to talk about these bigger ones here. We got these bigger ones. We got one big one. I don't think we got a second big one. No, we only have this one big one. It's just a big fat one. We got 2 of these with Skyfire. And then we got another one that's like the big fat one, except it's slightly smaller. It's almost like exactly like the big fat one, except it's just a size category smaller. And so we got 2 of those. So we got another one here. It is similar to the so the difference, these 2 big ones, well, the big one and the one that's similar to the big one, they don't have like little blast effects coming off the sides. They don't have little spiky bits coming off the sides. They're more rounded, more explodey. Then you have this one that's got the little effects coming off of it. And is there another one that goes with it? No, there's 2 of you. So you 2 are the same. And then, so we got this one that has the little blast effects coming up at the top. And then we have a longer one that has the similar blast effects coming off at the top. And they plug together, and then they plug into those things. And then we have, for the final bit, we've got one of these that also came with a Jetfire, and it plugs in. Actually, I think these originally came with Rodimus Prime, and it plugs into the top of that to give you this big old spiky explosion thing. Um, and that's those. And then we get a couple more little tippers for some explodey weapons. We could plug them into the tips of his guns there, and there we go. Pew pew. Yeah, fun. So those are all the blast effects. Lots of blast effects. Lots of blast effects. Oh, and then these two, which are shorter blast effects, and they're thinner, but they're made out of a different material. Feels a little harder. Uh, I think they're not too bad either. So we're gonna throw all those blast effects off to the side, and we got to talk about his micro guy, his little friend, which is Hot Rod, and Hot Rod here is of course Rodimus Prime, who gave up the Matrix and became Hot Rod again. But then, after a while, I don't remember where it happened, but he downgraded himself into a Micromaster in order to do some stuff. And we'll talk about him in the Blindformers episode and teach you how to transform him. But vehicle-wise, he has a decent little vehicle. He's got these fun little wheels. They do roll. He's wider than normal Micromasters. He's about as big as a Legend scale, except not as thick. He's a thin, wide sports car. I like the engine on the front. I like the big old windshield that you can feel there. That's a nice one. And it feels like this vehicle is a blend between his Hot Rod mode and his Rodimus mode. This is a unique vehicle, and I like it. I like it a lot. It's kind of cool that he's got kind of the Rodimus Prime back wing thing, because Hot Rod's was a bit smaller, but he's got the Hot Rod engine on the front. He's a neat little guy. He's neat. And then of course we get the trailer that he has with him, and he can drive up into his trailer, and the trailer shuts, and then the trailer's, interestingly enough, got 8 wheels, 4 in the front and 4 in the back. And it's a little 8-wheeled trailer, very similar to a train trailer, in my opinion. You can just kind of wiggle it back and forth and make him jump around in there. And then, of course, on the front, they say, "Oh yeah, you get a truck and trailer." Yeah, this is horrible. I'm gonna be admit this is my least favorite aspect of him, is this truck front, which they didn't even give wheels to. It just kind of plugs into the front. It's not even a full truck front. It's a shame that we get this really cool, really neat trailer thing, but then whenever it's time for there to be a cool new truck to go with it, they just half-hearted it, and they went, we'll just add the wheels to the front, and then the front of the truck can just plug in, and then your imagination can make up the rest. And I'm like, well, but I didn't want my imagination to work that hard. I just wanted to have a nice truck that plugged in, and I was going to compare it to the core class Optimus Prime and trailer and be like, oh, isn't that neat? I'm still going to compare them later, but it's still a letdown, in my opinion. I am let down by this truck trailer combo. Now, the truck can be pulled off, and you can reach in here and kind of pull out these guns. He's got guns in this mode, and there it goes. You can yank them out, and because I mean, there's ways to get the guns out, but then there's ways that the guns just are stupid, and this is the with every Titan class figure, there needs to be something that's just kind of stupid, and that's this right here. You get the double guns that stick out. And I'm like, yeah, you could have given us wings, little wheels, but you can put those at the front, and that's it. So we're going to plug those back in. They step down. We're going to plug this back into the front of the trailer, though the trailer doesn't need the front of the truck. The trailer's just good being a trailer. Hey, if we live with drone technology, does it really need a cabin in the front to drive around? No, it doesn't. So that is truck trailer. The truck also, I forgot to mention this, has a big old octagon on the side. We got a big old octagon on each side, and I think that's because of the shape of the matrix of leadership. Like, it feels like this is a half-hearted attempt at etching out the matrix of leadership on the sides. The little octagon stop sign feeling things are interesting, and I'm wondering, is there any paint in there? And then finally, we've got oh, and I forgot to mention, there's waffling on the rear door of this, and that's a shame. It's kind of a shame how thin this plastic is, and I wish that it was a bit thicker there for the little door folding down. It'd just be nice if that wasn't waffled, you know? Uh, Now, finally, sliding that guy over there, we've got the zone crystal. And this is the, it's just a big old ball. I didn't realize it was just going to be a ball. People think, say crystal. I think crystal. I think something with some spikes. Maybe cut really nice and looking pretty. I wasn't thinking balls. So when I first came across this ball with a 5mm peg on the bottom of it, I was like, what in the world is this? And it took watching a few videos to learn that it's a zone crystal. So here's how you plug it in. Find his chest, pull the chest piece down. There it goes. You'll find that there's a bunch of wheels in here. We can pull each of these wheel sections out on either side, and we reveal a hollow cavity on the inside. It's actually got some really nice line work in here and stuff to be a floor for base mode. We'll talk about that on base mode day, but you can plug the zone crystal in there. But you can also, and this is something that one of the YouTubers mentioned, is I think it was, I don't remember who mentioned it, but they said you can plug, you can just kind of slide your hot rod in here. You're supposed to, but I don't think you're supposed to do it when hot rod is when it's in robot mode. I don't know. Somebody mentioned it. I just tried it. It doesn't work. So now we take the zone crystal, feel in here. You'll find that there's a recessed spot in the middle, and that zone crystal kind of fits in there and locks down, revealing a hidden 5mm port. Yay! He's got 6, because he's got 2 in his hands. He's got 1 in each hand. He's got 1 on each shoulder for these shoulder guns, and he's got 1 on his butt that we talked about earlier, and then he's got 1 in his chest. Now the zone crystal's in there. We can close the chest up, and there you have it. Okay, nice and closed down. And then the final accessories that we had to talk about, because we've just been talking about accessories, are these things on his shoulders. Very similar to the spinny cannons that we got with that Armada guy who's a really the tidal wave, Armada tidal wave. Very similar to the spinny guns that came with him, to the turrets. So each of these, one plugs into the top of each shoulder, and I just think it makes him look awesome. It just makes him into a badass-atron, that's for sure. To have this gun turrets on his shoulders. So now let's talk about the robot mode in depth and discuss it, and give you my final thoughts and feelings on it. And if we have time, we'll do some comparisons. So the underside of his feet are annoying that there's so much waffling happening here. And we'll talk about everything that you can do with the underside of his feet in other videos when we talk about that stuff. But that's the underside. Now, he does have some really excellent ankle tilt there on each side. Really, really good distance for that ankle tilt on each end. And the tops of his feet are decent. Nice little feeling things. And decent little feet textures. Coming over here to his legs, we don't really have much happening here. And this is a letdown for him. He feels very cartoonish, very toy-like. And I'm so used to there being so much more happening here. But whatever plastic they used for this just doesn't bode well. It feels too glossy. It feels too sleek. It's not the same plastic that I'm used to. Now on the side of his legs, we've got this bit that's folded up and reminds me a lot of a road piece. And I'm actually very sad that it doesn't ever get utilized as one. In any part of this character's transformation. And we'll definitely discuss that more on Blindformers Day. Now, the sides of his legs here have some decent textures, but there's not really much happening there. Like I said before, there is a swivel in his thigh. There it goes. Yeah, nice little thigh swivel. He's also got a ratcheted knee that pulls a 90. Oh, really loud ratcheted knee, pulls a 90. He can kick up to a 90 on the side, I recall. Let's take a look at that. Yeah. All right. There it goes. Yeah, you can kick up to a 90 on the side. You can kick forwards, not too much because of the skirt piece, but if we raise the skirt up, you can kick forwards to just below a 90. I give that 80. You can kick back just at 90. I kicked myself. He popped me in the chin. He's got that mule kick in the chin. So that is the articulation for this. Now, the upper thigh area, very smooth, not much happening there, and I'm so sad about that. I'm like, oh, I really wish you guys would do more with the upper thighs. They did okay. We've got some hydraulics that they etched into the back of his upper thighs, which is nice, but not really much happening elsewhere on these, and that's kind of a shame. It's one of those I wish they had really etched in some more stuff here. Now we come up here to his side skirts, and his side skirts have some little bobbles on them, little connection ports, but I don't know what they could possibly connect to. If you know, let me know in the comments below, because I would love to know. But there's these little bitty ports that seem like they connect to things, but I haven't figured it out. And then we come over here to his front groin. He's got this big old armor piece that is his skirt piece that runs across the front of him. And then we come up here to his core. Of course, he's got 360-degree rotation in his core body, and that is a heavy ratchet as well. The area here is this big old front windshields for truck mode, but they're not used in truck mode. They're actually hidden in truck mode. So I don't know why he's got these big old windshields, unless it's just because convoys have big truck windshields in the front. That's all I can come up with. But it does feel neat. It's weird how these angles work, and that there's a little spiky bit right below his chin. It's a neat little character. So below here we've also got the typical grill becomes abs, and it's everything you love and expect from Optimus Primes, or should I say convoys in this case. He does have these neat little feeling things on either side of his abs, but that's just about it for his chest. We come over here to his arms. He gets 360-degree motion there. He can raise up his arm to about 90. If you break the transformation joint below, you can raise it up even more. Look at that. That's nice. And all that closes down and locks into place. The arm here can do 90-degree bend with another ratchet, and he can rotate his hands 360 degrees. And when it comes to his lower arm, we don't really have much texturing going on here. We got some screw holes, which I wish they had turned into siege ports, so that we could like plug some weapons into him and really deck him out with the weapons. But for the most part, it's pretty nice. I wish that whatever is painted on the fronts of his shoulders had been etched in. That would have been nice for me to enjoy, because I have no idea what's there. I could just feel that it feels like something's painted there. Now he does have bicep swivel, and I already talked about the 90-degree bend there. And there's not really much more to talk about on this side. The sculpting is a bit lackluster. I'll tell you straight up, but I do like what they did on his arms. They have some nice sculpting on the sides of his arms here. It feels quite excellent. It really does. Now we come over to his head, and his head is the more unique aspect of him. He's got an Optimus Prime face mask. He's got those deep set eyes, but he's also got this crazy helmet, and it's got little wing, little antenna coming off on either side of it, with that shield in the center, the little crest, and then on either side is his rabbit ears have become antennae that stick out just a little bit on the sides, and he's got these four. It's a wild look for him to have, but it works for Star Optimus Prime. Now, what do I think of this guy as a whole? Well, first off and foremost, I'm going to say he's not S category. I'm just going to let you know that one. I'm on the fence about making him either a B plus or an A minus, because he's there. He is right there on the cusp, and I'm leaning more towards B plus than A minus, and that's just because of the quality of the plastic, especially in his legs. It just feels too glossy. I don't like how glossy this feels. I want a little more roughness to him, little more. I don't know, texture. Something that's not this glossy, crappy plastic texture. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a B plus on robot mode. Excellent robot mode overall, but still, the plastic quality does diminish it. And the nicest thing about him, though, when it comes to his robot mode is, pardon me, is if you put his back treads on, because these guys can actually come off, and we'll talk about that in another video. But when these guys are on, it does allow his legs to be just as heavy as his upper body. With those pieces off, his legs are incredibly light, and it does kind of suck. And I'm glad that I don't have a terrible copy. Some people have had problems with the fact that their back treads just kind of pop off at a moment's notice, but as you can see, my guy can just kind of float through space and not have any problems because he's Star Convoy. He doesn't fall apart. So now we come to the favorite part of my videos where I talk about some size comparisons. So I've got Siege Skyfire, so you can get an idea of what is the difference between this guy and Siege Skyfire, the tallest commander class. And there you go. That's the difference between them. It's a massive difference between them. You can look over Skyfire's head, and I think that's pretty cool. Now we're going to set Skyfire here, and then we're going to set him here, and I'm going to get you my largest Titan class figure. Just a little bit forward. There you go. Just a little bit more. There you go. Now let's get the tallest Titan class I own, so that we can get an understanding of how far, how much has shrunk between these figures. So let's go ahead and slide this guy into the rear. There you go. There we are. I'm going to hold him up just a bit because I want to be safe, careful and make sure he's safe. So, Star Optimus Prime comes up to the midway up the chest of Black Zarek. Almost exactly the amount of difference between Skyfire and Star Convoy is between Star Convoy and Black Zarek here. And that is just massive. I mean, headwise, though, wow. Star Convoy and Skyfire have very similar heads. It feels like where Skyfire isn't really wearing a helmet, Star Convoy is, and that's the difference between their head sizes. But massive difference in the head size for Black Zarek, of course. His face is the size of Star Convoy's head. So let me go ahead and take away this guy. Oh, nuts. There he is. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. And we got one more real fun one to add because, I like my size comparisons. I can pull him off of this little stand over here. Come on. Ah, nuts. Okay. Here we go. Here is Star Convoy next to RID Optimus Prime, and there is a big size comparison difference right there that I think is important to notice. People say how big, and I say it. What happened to your head here? Why is your head all acting weird? No, silly guy. Stop being so funny. Okay, there it goes. I thought, RID 2001 Optimus Prime is kind of big, but then you compare him over here to Star Convoy, and there is a massive, massive, massive difference in the sizing there. And that is wild, in my opinion. This is just a wild transformer all in all. I accidentally untransformed him a bit. There it goes. Back to normal for my Robots in Disguise Optimus Prime. And finally, one more to call it a day. We're going to move Skyfire over here, lay him down, and here is Menasor. Menasor compared to Star Convoy, I think, is a nice little comparison because they both are very similar in size. Menasor is just slightly smaller than Star Convoy. And where is my good old pal Megatronus? Here is Megatronus. Megatronus has now lost the title for tallest of the 13 primes because he is very, very small compared to Star Convoy. And that is a fun little size comparison. It's just, I like how big this Star Convoy is, but I appreciate that he's not as large as Black Zarek. This Star Convoy is a decent size. He will fit well with a lot of things that I have. And he's going to work out pretty well in my opinion. I like this robot mode. I just wish the plastic was a bit better in the quality department. And especially the legs. Like everything else, decent stuff. But those legs are just wonky. But I blathered on long enough about this amazing transformer. Go out and get it yourself if you can afford it. Join me tomorrow for our episode of Blindformers, where I will be discussing how to transform this crazy robot from his robot mode to his vehicle mode and into his base mode. So please tune in next time. Bye bye for now.